Today we're doing beginner's guide for the Last Starship. This game is very complex and tutorial is lacking. I've managed to get really far into the game so I can share some knowledge with you. We will focus on the campaign playthrough for now, but most of the tips will be viable for other game mechanics as well. And you have the tutorial that will help you a lot with the basics, but it won't help you too much. You still need to learn a lot of stuff after that. So you can follow the tutorial and get the easy basics of the game, but there are some things that you might want to know in order not to screw up and get easier playthrough. So first the basic. The tutorial will guide you through construction of your reactor, your fuel and everything, but there are some tips that you might need to know straight away for easier gameplay, especially later in the game. First things first, the loader doesn't have to be next to the fuel tank or anything. It just has to be connected to the tank or the reactor or the engines through the pipes, and that will allow you to have loader closer to the loading area where everything's being loaded and unloaded into your ship. That will eliminate the needs of your people to carry the fuel from here to the loader area. The tutorial wants us to build everything over here. I found it better to put it in the back of the ship and use it sort of as a reactor room later into the game. But you can do whatever you want, just make sure that everything is connected. I found the cabling to be easier if you pull it through the perimeter of your ship, because you will have a lot of guns over there and everything, and it'll be easier to connect it like that, or one tile before it, up to you, or you can do both. The cabling is easy, you can cover the entire ship with the cables and nothing bad will happen, but pipes might seem to be harder. So for example, we have the oxygen here and fuel over there. And by default, the pipes with different types of resources cannot cross each other because they have different stuff. But what I learned later into the game, that you can actually do a crossover like that. So they can do intersection and you can get different resources in different areas. Before that, I thought that once you get your fuel around your ship, you can't get any other pipes through it, but you can. So keep it in mind for later when you'll be routing different resources in your ship. That will help you out a lot. Next thing you want to do are the missions. None of the missions that are here, the early one, require you to be ready for combat or scary. They will give you a lot of money quite easily and they follow the story. So you really would like to do all of the missions that are available in the yellow, and so far I haven't found, and in my first 20 hours of the game, the only mission that requires combat will tell you to be ready for that. That's a wolf in the ship's clothing. The rest of them don't require you to have any investment, don't require you to be ready for anything, and if they will want you to be ready for something, they will give you the quest log and the time to prepare. And they are also sort of tutorial missions about different game mechanics, so I advise you guys to do that before going on for other missions and, you know, getting ready for the combat and building up your empire. Now let's take a look at the sector map. Sector map is random for everyone. Every playthrough will have different layout of stuff. Over here we have several areas and you need to keep in mind several things. Shipyard areas are the ones where you can upgrade your ship. So you can go to the editor, adjust your ship, get extra space, get stuff inside if you want to, and all that stuff. You can plan it ahead of time, like we did over here, but you can only confirm it inside of the shipyard area. Keep in mind that building your ship is expensive, so yeah, we'll talk about that a bit later. But yeah, you have to be inside of the shipyard area to apply those changes or repair your ship. Then there are areas with hostiles. In that area, hostiles will spawn every specific period of time, so staying there if you have the mission in that area for longer than you need is dangerous. You won't be able to loot that much stuff and you will be constantly attacked by the enemies there. Enemy encounters are randomized most of the time, so you can go into the same combat area and get different types of enemies every time. So right now we have like class 1, class 1, class 1 enemy here, and class 1, class 1, class 1 enemy here. So this fight is pretty simple. But if we will load the game and jump into the same area, we will get different opponent. This one is class 3 right now, which is way more dangerous, and this one is class 3 as well. So you can get very, very tough and dangerous opponents in those areas, especially if you are not prepared. Sometimes you can get one shot at there. So I had various missions that give us various rewards and different difficulty, ranging from 1 to 10, and the payment from 100 to like 600, and enemies were sometimes so tough that they would just one-shot me. And I had no chance fighting them. But sometimes you get some really easy ships that can be just massacred there. And yeah, I had no issues fighting them. We'll talk about fighting a bit later, but basically, fighting is hard in this game. And combat is hard, so you gotta be really prepared for that. Otherwise, your ship will be destroyed quite easily. That's why I have so many save files here, and make sure that you will save before teleporting into the area. Because if you'll plot a jump somewhere and your ship will be destroyed, you still have autosaves, but it's better to make sure that you are saved normally before that. Let's make our ship dead, so we will turn off all the weapons, engines, life support, logistic and science, because I want to lose it, and I want to lose to the enemies, so you will know what will happen if you lose your ship. Nothing good, it will just be destroyed, and the game will tell you, well, keep going. The enemies can be pretty brutal, and your hull can go down really fast. Well, since we're here, let's talk a bit about the ship. In the designer, you can put armor on top of your ship. What does it do? It lowers the damage from the projectiles, and it pretty much negates the damage from machine guns, from the Gatling guns the enemy have. So those guns don't do any damage to the area that has armor. But armor can be penetrated by the cannons and rail guns, and once it's done, the machine guns, Gatling guns, they will start doing damage if they shoot to the areas that are damaged, where there is no armor. That's pretty much the basic of your survival. If your hull goes to 0, you will die. And even the small ships like these can cause a lot of damage, so be really careful. Armor makes your ship heavier, so it can't go as fast after that. Your movement speed will be way slower if you will be too heavy, so you can open the editor and see your mess over here. So yeah, you will need loads of engines to move your heavy ship if you have a very powerful one, or you can make a very nimble ship that will be able to move around fast enough and avoid the damage. So if we'll start moving, once our engines will be powered up, I hope we'll survive till that, we'll have the evasion, and that will allow us to take a lower damage, lower chance of being hit basically. So there we go, and we have 30% evasion. That means most of the shots are going right through us, they don't hit us. Not most, but 30%. It still doesn't guarantee you that you won't be hit. I don't know if it's possible to get 100% evasion or not, but it's totally based on your velocity, your speed, and also you can manually avoid the damage. So if enemies are shooting values of cannons to you, you can try to navigate away from that, so you will not be hit. Also, if you're going into the combat, make sure that your drones are inside, because if they'll be out gathering materials or something, they'll be shot by enemy Gatling guns. It might save you from being hit by the Gatling guns, but you will lose the drones, and it will be way harder to repair and harvest resources afterwards. So I personally prefer to keep them inside during the combat. And you will need to enable battle stations for your guys to use the weapons. Without that, as you can see, we're only shooting the meteors here automatically a bit. So basically our ship is defenseless right now. It takes them so long to take me out. Come on guys, you can do this. So yeah, it can be weird. Maybe they're out of ammo, or I have no idea what happened, but they don't kind of shoot me too much. But most of the time enemies, they will just stockpile on top of you and they will destroy you. So yeah, we have finally destroyed. Our ship is gone, and we lose most of our cargo here, and that's about it. At this point, you're dead. And if it will take too long for you to fight that fight, you can go back, abandon game, that's what you have to do, load the game, and if you don't have the set save, you gotta go for autosave. And there are only 10 of those, which is usually enough time for you to backtrack, but if not, you might actually not have an ability to reload before the combat, and you will pretty much die. So that's why you would like to have the normal save before going into the combat, that you can load and try. So yeah, now let's talk about the basics, the contracts. There are several types of those. The combat missions that are pretty rewarding, I like them the most, but they require your ship to be strong enough to fight that. And as I said, even the early missions can be quite troublesome, so you gotta be prepared for that. The easiest way to earn money early on are doing passenger transport mission or rescue missions. Just make sure, this one, rescue civilians from wrecked ship, they are pretty easy, they don't require much time. Just make sure that rescue civilians don't have the combat over there. Otherwise, you'll have to fight off the enemies and rescue civilians at the same time. That will be hard. Another thing that you need is to make sure that you have free cabins for that. So in order to do that, for your ship, you gotta open the editor and adjust the habitation. The size of the habitation governs the amount of cabins you have. Right now we have 76 cabins, but we have 68 crew, so we can't handle more people on board. So in order to do that, we will extend it, and it's pretty straightforward. It doesn't matter about the design or anything, it's just more space, more cabins. Confirm. That adds a bit of weight, but it adds 29 cabins for our ship. We can extend it even more over here, because I want this ship to be viable to do anything, and it's like sort of a capital ship right now. Bam, we got 215 cabins. Now we can carry a lot of people. That lowers our toughness though a bit, so be careful. Don't increase in your mass too much, and don't get in toughness too much. We'll talk about editor a bit later. Once again, for now, this is the basics for your mission. Now you can accept the passenger transport mission, the rescue mission, and so on. The missions that has that diamond, blue-shaped diamond next to them means that you already have the mission in the same area, which is usually a good thing unless it's a combat mission. So for example, we can take this passenger request, and we will have another one that requires us to transport passengers into the same area. So we can do that and also get the cargo delivery to the same area. That way, we will do one jump that will reward us with like 3 different missions. So yeah, the delivery missions are pretty straightforward. You will get some stuff delivered to you, and you will need to deliver it to the specific area. Some of those has the timer. Some of the missions has the timers. You can see that over here. So we have a limited amount of time to do that. For now, let's just wait for everyone to get on board, and once this shuttle get the hell out, we'll be able to do the jump and do the delivery. So the timer is running out, and we don't want to wait for too long. And I think we need to deliver them all to this area. Let's do that pretty easily. We do the jump. It's really pretty straightforward. While we have that many missions that might be annoying, so if you don't want them to be on your screen, you can right-click to minimize them. And I think if you double right-click, no, there is no way. If the mission is urgent, you can't remove it completely. It will stay minimized, but most of them can be totally removed from the screen. So you will have the UI visible to you. Alright, we arrived to the area where we need to unload the passengers and the people, and you just press turn in the contract, and that will bring the shuttle here that will pick up all of those guys and the cargo. So because you will need to move cargo in and out quite a lot through the docking port, you would like to plan your docking port somewhere close to your cargo bay. Otherwise, your guys will have to carry the resources from far away into the cargo, and that will take a while. You don't want that. And that's why I have the huge cargo area over here and some of those over there as well. But for the resources that will be transported, they will be accessed through the docking ports, and that will be easy to deliver it here and deliver it back. Bam, we're done 3 missions. We managed to get quite a good chunk of money for the beginners. For our current situation, it's not that much. You can right-click any notifications to get rid of them and to get rid of the completed missions. That gave us some ratings. Ratings don't do that much other than allow you to get tougher missions. That doesn't mean that those missions will be like more profitable, because sometimes the higher tier missions that require higher tier rank will pay less. The completed missions here will disappear soon enough, so don't worry about that. And then we have other types of missions. Mining missions that require you to give in specific resources. I'm not so sure about them being good, but the production missions are fun. So you will be able to give in the resources that you can manufacture them, or if you have them already, you can just accept them and deliver the stuff that you don't need in your storage from any of your ships. Later on, you'll be able to get multiple ships, like kind of factories, mining ships, and so on. And you can give in the resources from any type of ship. So we will give it in from our spaceship over here. Turn in the contract. And this ship has a lot of thallium crystals and copper, so we can give it in ourselves. It's not always beneficial to do that though, because you can use it for manufacturing and sell it later. That's for later game. But if you need money, and for example, your combat ship might have looted some precious crystals recently, and you see the mission to turn in the precious crystals from any area. It doesn't matter which area you take in it. You can give it in from any ship. So yeah, and as you can see, the guys are bringing it on this shuttle in order to deliver the resources for the mission. There we go. Done and done. Perfect. And also, it seems that the shuttle docks to every ship that you have. So they give in some of the resources from this area as well. Weird. Although keep in mind that if you pick the mission and you can't complete it, it will stay there forever. I haven't found a way to reject the mission, so you will have to do that, or they will keep being there and being annoying. Be really careful with the combat missions, because if you accept too many combat missions, you might end up with an area that has too many enemies. So let's try to do that. Even more combat missions. So we accepted loads and loads of combat missions, and now if we take a look at the sector map, there is an area with 3 combat notifiers. That means that once we get there, we probably will get our ass kicked. Let's give it a go. We will have too many ships, and usually if you do it early on, or even later on, it will be way harder to clear. If you are sure about yourself, if you have a very powerful ship, maybe you will be able to survive that. So let's go and try to fight it. That will be combat tutorial, sort of. Let's talk about combat a little bit before we go there. You have 3 types of weapons: railguns, cannons, and Gatling guns. Gatling guns do not require to be manned. They can shoot automatically. They just need supply of ammo. Gatling guns are good against the enemy drones, asteroids, and also they are good against the enemies that get too close and don't have armor. The problem is, if the enemy releases the drone, the Gatling guns will shoot the drone instead of the enemy ship, so that makes them pretty much useless in high-end combat, because the enemies has a lot of drones and they will not shoot the actual enemy. But they are good at dispatching the weaker, smaller ships without the armor that gets too close. So getting them is actually beneficial, but if you want to be future-proofing your ship, focus on cannons and railguns. Cannon seems to be the best type of weapon that you can get, because they don't consume that much energy per shot, so it's easier to maintain them, especially early game, and they have pretty decent damage output. Railguns are fun as well. They are long range, but if you have too many railguns, your battery drain will be crazy. So let's go into that area and test what we have. Let's prepare the jump. Every time you want to go for combat, you want to make sure that you are battle station ready first. You can build the weapon control centers in your ship. That way, you can assign various weapons to this battle station, and that area will have those connected guns to it, and one weapon officer will be able to manage all those guns instead of having 4 of your normal workers manning the guns. Let's find some area that has the dude manning that. There we go. We have this dude, crew member, at this railgun that will control it. So if you want to shoot this gun, you want it to be manned if it's not connected to the weapon control center. In our case, we don't have enough weapon officers, to be honest, so we need to buy more. Crew, we have 45 crew members on board. Let's get 50 and 15 officers, which is not enough. And it's nice to have more than you need, because in case if they will be injured or killed during the combat, you will have someone to replace them. So yeah, I somewhat prefer to have most of my weapons connected to the control center, because you can control it from safe distance of this room, instead of having, there we go, this gun is automatic now, so the crew member is free to go run around and carry ammo to the gun. So this allows you to have more weapon controls with less crew, otherwise you will have crazy amount of people manning all the guns. Then the guns can be placed like that, facing your own ship. It doesn't matter. You can select the tactical view and select the gun to see how far it can shoot. So there we go. This is one of those guns inside of the ship, and it can shoot right through it all the way over there. So if you have ship design like this, or you have the holes that can be used for weapons like this, you can put the guns over there and they will still shoot. So don't worry about that. Also make sure that all your cannons are on auto, so they will shoot automatically. You can manually target the enemies by selecting specific weapons and selecting specific target. I found it to be pretty hard to manage, especially in real time, so I just get, well, more guns instead. You want to make sure that you have enough ammo in your ship and all the guns are manned and everything before jumping into the combat. There is also a way how you can automatically reload the cannons and railguns and all the weapons. You need to put a small storage crate with specific type of ammo and 2 short robot arms facing the weapons. That will make it automatically reloading, which is really convenient, but at the same time it takes a lot of space. So it's not for beginners, but later on it might be a good tip to automatically manage most of your weapons. That will increase the weapon fire rate. Alright, let's go into that dangerous area, and probably we will die because that area is having way too many enemies. Tactical view, and there we go. We get 1 enemy ship over there, 1 enemy ship over there, and 3 ships coming from that side. They are not that strong, but this frigate and Dragonfly are one of the most dangerous ships. As you can see, they do insane amount of shots, insane amount of damage, and our ship is suffering damage straight away. So even this powerful ship that we have over here can be easily destroyed by the enemies. And look at that, our batteries are being drained because we need so much more power to shoot from all the guns. We destroyed 1 ship, but Dragonfly is still alive and he did 50% hull damage for us. So in this situation, what you can do, you should save before the jump. We didn't do that. And if you can't defeat the enemy, try to do the jump again. Sometimes you'll get different enemies, but sometimes you will have the same type of enemy. And yeah, as you can see, even my ship is being massacred here because those cannons are OP and we are dead. So that's what will happen if you have too many combat missions in one area. You might be overwhelmed and be destroyed. So we did another jump right now, and we don't have the Dragonfly anymore. We have other types of enemies, which is way easier to manage. You can try to use this trick to fight tougher enemies, or just don't pull too many combat missions at once, because that's rewarding. You will get a lot of money, but that will be very tricky to do properly. Even the biggest ships can be overloaded by enemies and overwhelmed. The cannons, they have specific fire angle and range, so you need to make sure that you turn to the side of the enemy and they are within the fire distance of your guns in order to destroy them. So yeah, most of your fight will be happening in this tactical view, not the cool looking one when you can see the enemies being destroyed. You can't even control your ships like that, but yeah, you don't have any option, because if you want to actually move your ship around and aim it towards the enemy or something, you would like to be in the tactical view. So that's how the combat is. Pretty straightforward, but pretty dangerous. We will talk about the ship design in a minute, talking about the best design for the combat or anything and how you can make it better, optimize it. It's a totally different story, but I'll touch on the basics so you guys can learn that. When the combat is over, you might want to stay here and loot the resources. In order to do that, you have to send your drones away. You will have the drones really early into the game and they are really convenient. You can send them to repair hull, that will repair your ship, or gather materials, that will gather the raw materials, and scavenging, gathering materials will allow you to get the scrap, which is, it's a metal source, but it's really hard to get because there are so many pieces there. And your drones, even the upgraded ones, will take a while to do that. Also, the metal is pretty common, so I don't recommend doing that, especially in dangerous areas. I advise you guys to gather salvage instead. That will allow your drones to harvest expensive materials that are dropped by the enemy ships, like ammo. It's not the most expensive stuff, other drones, but most cool stuff that you can get from the enemy ship. We have someone scavenging our combat area here. Basically, yeah, the most expensive stuff you can get are precious metals and deuterium. Sometimes the big ship drops that as well, but mostly you will get some useless stuff here. And yeah, when you're scavenging with your drones, they will deliver resources back to your drone base, and they have to be carried from there by your crew, so make sure that you have enough crew members so the drones won't get stuck over there with their loot. And yeah, sometimes scavenging after the fight can yield closer to $1 million of money, so it can be pretty profitable. Also, you can turn off the battle stations if you are in a safe area and there are no more enemies. The drawback though, if you will get the combat mission in the hostiles area like this one or this one, you will get waves of enemies coming after another wave, so you won't be able to scavenge for long. So in that situation, you can try to get something fast enough, but like 20 to 30 seconds before the next wave, you will get a notification that enemies are coming. Turn off all the drone activity so you can get them back in and start aiming for a different area to get the hell out of that stuff before the enemy arrival, because they can jump right on top of you and destroy you completely. So this is hard. Probably I'll make combat tutorial later on if you need that, so let me know in the comments what kind of guys do you want for this game. But yeah, running away is totally viable option. I honestly found combat one of the most challenging parts of the game, so now let's talk about other aspects of the game. First one, trade. You can buy the items in the friendly systems, and there is a limited availability of the items. So you can buy insane amount of stuff. Some stuff you can produce on your ship, some stuff cannot be produced at all. So for example, weapons, Gatling guns, railguns, cannons, and weapon control centers cannot be produced. You can check what you can produce in this research screen. I think it will expand later on, I'm not sure about that. But you can see the production stuff that you can unlock around here. You can click around and see what you can get. Mainly you can produce this stuff: tanks, loaders, bigger tanks, and even bigger tanks. Factory stuff. Deflector beams can only be produced by yourself, they cannot be bought, and they are really good. You should aim for that in the research. Since we're in the research, let's talk about that in a minute. Yeah, most of the stuff can be produced, but not all of that. I advise to start producing drones early, because you will need a lot of those guys, and buying them is a bit hard. So after you start producing drones, you don't need to save them. They can be used as decoy to attract enemy Gatling guns instead of them attacking your ship. So yeah, the research, the science, how it works. Basically, this is the research tree as you can get. It's pretty straightforward. I advise you guys to go for science early on. That will boost your reactor efficiency, and that works for all your reactors, both the normal reactor and the fusion reactor, which is pretty good. 10% is a lot. Then going for deflector beams if you want to do the combat. If you don't want to do the combat, aim for drone speed and drone intelligence. That will help you with mining and actual harvesting, and maybe mining laser precision to be able to mine more resources per shot. The rest of the stuff depends on your playthrough style. As you can see, I don't have a lot of those things done here for the research, but you will need to do Andromeda Project Part 3 at some point as well to complete the story mission. So yeah, you can aim for whatever you want, you just need to start the research, and then you'll have the research points and computation points. You will need specific elements on your ship, any of your ships over there, to make it work. And as you can see, they are going already. We have the science stations where scientists can work. We have the supercomputer that does some science. I'm not really sure how it works, because I just got everything and it works. And then we have those hyperspace sensors that give you the science points when you do the FTL jumps. Basically, when we do the jump, bam, our hyperspace sensors go out. They will produce some data per second. Right now it's 0, I'm not sure why. And as you can see, your systems are working during that time. So I guess this is when the research is happening. I still haven't figured it out, but basically it works by itself over time for me. So you will need the research for the progression. I will make a separate guide on it later if you need to. For me, it just works. I have no idea how it works, but it just works. So yeah, you can buy different resources, different stuff here, and when you order it, it will come on your ship. You can also sell stuff from your current ship, and I don't recommend selling too many things. My best bet is selling the loot that you don't need. For example, precious metals that we have over here. If we sell all of them, we will get 1 million. You can adjust the amount of selling by using shift to sell 5, control to sell all. Left click is selling, right click is not canceling the sell order. So yeah, you will loot a lot of space suits from the enemies. I advise you to keep amount that will be enough for your crew, because you might have issues during the combat, and a lot of precious metals that we don't need. So selling that will free up your inventory storage space and also give you loads of money. After that, when you apply the sell, you will get the money straight away, and then the ship will come over and pick up the loot. You will have to carry it yourself to the ship, and you can also cancel trade and refund. You will have to send the money back, and you will cancel the trade for the resource that you haven't delivered yet. Most of the time you just send it away and it's all good. So this small shuttle can hold all that stuff somehow. Powergrid. Here you can adjust your systems. It's not usually needed. It's mostly needed when you want to turn on your fusion reactor that requires some energy to start, or if you have issues with the power. I had that sometimes. So you can readjust the amount of power going for the weapons, for example, or the engines, and send it elsewhere. Most of the time you want it all to be fully operational. You can turn off signs during the combat if you have issues with the power, but most of the time, look at that, it's going down. What's happening? Yeah, we just turned off some systems and now they have to be reactivated. So be careful around that. If your battery will run dry, you might have issues. Then we have interstellar logistics. This is pretty cool automation system. So what I do here, this is like end game stuff mostly, but you will need it, and the sooner you'll start using it, the better. We have one space station here that does production. We have the gas collector that's in the gas cloud, creating fuel for us and creating the deuterium and stable isotopes that we need for the production. So what do? We have the transport ship like this one that's going between those two stations, changing the resources. So what does it do? It docks with the station. It docks with the station. There we go. It might take a while, but it's automated, which I really like. It also has those hyperspace scoop to get the hyperspace isotope, so every time it jumps, it generates that. Then it delivers it to the space station. Gas collector over here picks it up and refines it into deuterium. Then it picks up the deuterium and other resources that it needs in order to deliver it to other space stations. In order to do that, it has a bunch of orders. Oh, we don't have the deuterium one yet. Wait, let me load the other save. In this save, we have the starbase that has full output that actually blocks, like sometimes you'll have issues that you have to manage. There is a way how you can do that, but it's way too complex. I decided not to deal with that. So for now, we'll just sell some of our stuff in the storage in order to open up the storage space. And when we removed the clogging basically and freed up the inventory space, this ship, the carrier, will move the resources between... Oh, this is annoying. It just got interrupted by the shuttle. But yeah, it will deliver resources in between. So what we have here, we have a bunch of tasks, and we have the task for the gas collector. Basically, the building that produces stuff can automatically sell the resources. So it will sell specific resources when it's all but like on specific condition. In our case, we have two options. First one is quantity, second is all but. Quantity is selling specific amount that's very linear, but all but will allow us to have some of that being stored in the storage. So we will sell all but 20. So now we have 20 of those Stargate resins stacks being stored in the area. And the transport has several orders. It will transfer from gas collector hyperspace isotopes, fuel, stable isotopes, and deuterium until it will have specific amount on board, and transfer hyperspace isotopes to the gas collector ship. And then it will transfer it to the AG foundry. So it picks the stuff here, flies over there, loads specific amount to that ship, and stores the rest over here. And it also buys the FTL charges during those jumps to keep it up. That way we have infinite production of fuel and deuterium on this ship, and we can also sell extra stable isotopes maybe, because this is weird. We will need them to be delivered to the main station for the crafting, but sometimes logistics is hard. In this game, most of the time. But it can be fixed. Just make sure that you use this system to transport resources later into the game, because it can automate a lot of stuff. And as you go deeper into the game, you will need this system even more. You can check the log here to see if something is up, if you have any issues, and it can be used to earn a lot of money. So yeah, you will need loads of money to plan the ships. We're almost there, because ship construction is expensive. This ship altogether costs 31 million. That's crazy amount of money. And if you want to create the new ship, depending on the design, it might cost up to 30 million as well. Like this anvil ship is very expensive. This defense platform, really expensive. So you probably will need money. In order to get the money, there are several ways. First one is doing missions and fighting. That's what I did. But there is an easier way. You can set up the ships in the gas cloud. That's the easiest way to get the money, to be honest. Set them up for production of fuel. You will get that in the tutorial at one point in the game, so don't worry about that. You will get that mission. And then you can use the interstellar logistics to automatically sell the fuel. And then you can scale it. You can have like 5 ships hanging over here, producing fuel automatically and selling it. And it will not require anything from the outside other than buying food and air and water. So this is a small tip for people who watched all up to this point. You can get insane amount of money, don't worry about it any time in the future, but it feels too easy, so I decided not to do that. So I'll still have the challenge. And I advise you guys to do the same, otherwise you will have infinite money and the game will be boring. So yeah, let's move on to the main part, the editor. It looks pretty scary, but it's really not. You can adjust your own ship by doing stuff. So let's say we start with the Praxis Pirate for starters. It's okay. So the ship is being fabricated right now, and this is the basics, right? So it's a small ship, which is pretty good for starters, but you want to make it bigger. You go to the editor and, for example, you want to add additional areas here. There are 3 options. Freehand, that's like painting. Then there is a box tool that allows you to make boxes. I use this one the most. And then there is an oval tool that makes shapes. So for example, if you want to make the circly thing or thing with like, basically it creates the shape with smooth edges, let's put it like that. But it's really inefficient for this kind of game because your guns will require a very flat surface to place them. So circular areas are looking cool, but they will not work. Then there is a symmetry option. You can have symmetry on the right that sort of allows you to do symmetrical ships, which is most of the time very useful. And there is a vertical one, which allows you to create a pretty much space station. So if we will activate it, everything we place will be placed on the outside as well. So it means that we will draw 4 times more stuff. Usually for the ships you want to turn off the vertical symmetry in order to paint it like that. Keep in mind that ship is always turned to the right, facing to the right. So on the left area it's the back of the ship, on the right area is the front of the ship. It will be very important for the engines because the engines has to be in the back of the ship. So you can place one over there, but you can place it anywhere else and you can't rotate it. So it's always in the back, and some things like hyperspace loop has to be pointing forward all the time. It's the only place where it can be. Other than that, you can be free to do whatever. So the thing is, it's very expensive to build a ship. So let's start by making it a bit bigger. For example, we want to have this side like this and this side like this for extra guns. I like this kind of designs, right? With the clothes and stuff. Let's add a bit of stuff over here to make it look a bit better. And one of those over here. So it will look like double cabin or stuff. And maybe add a bit more space up front for more guns and stuff that will be facing forward. Then we switch to floors and we can see that this area is only walls. We can just pull it. That will remove all the walls in the area, or we can pull in the specific area that we just created to make it shallow. Same with the frontal area. Bam. That will allow those areas to be building friendly. And it already costs 163,000 money just to make the hull. So it will be really expensive to do it. Hull is basically the outside modifier, and you can use R to make shapes. So we can make something like this that will look way better. It doesn't bring any efficiency into play, but I don't know, it just feels cool that you can make spikes like this and that kind of stuff. So yeah, once you are happy with what you do, you can confirm your choice. That will cost you the money, bam, but you will get your ship ready to install more stuff into it. There is also erase option. That will remove the stuff that you don't need. So for example, for the hull, if we want to make it smaller, we can erase it. The problem is, you won't get your money back. So once you set something up, it's already there, and erasing doesn't give you the money back even if you're still planning stuff. So keep it in mind. Once you put stuff in the draw mode, it's already there, and yeah, it will be pricey and your mistakes will cost you. Then there is an armor. Armor is what we told about. It can be covering your entire ship, but it will make it very heavy. But you therefore would like to have it on the outside of your combat ship, because the armor will allow the ship to be protective against the Gatling guns, so at least 2 to 3 tiles outside should be armored if your ship want to survive the combat. Especially if you have your people there, it will be way better. And the armor costs a lot as well, so 235k more just for putting the armor. Take a look at the mess though. Before that, wait, let's check the speed. Make sure that your ship has the loading dock, because we just increased the size and now the loading dock is inside. You can place it outside, and I prefer to have it on 2 sides of the ship myself because it's more convenient. Done and done. One docking bay costs 10k, it's not that expensive. Let's get 3 crew members on this ship so they can actually man it and do everything, and I want to do the tests. Resources, let's get some fuel, some oxygen, some FTL charges, water and food. Don't care about the guns too much. And if that's your new ship, you will need spacesuits for your people to move around. Without them, they won't be able to get in. So in our case, they're running out the reactors and everything. They're shining up the turning everything on. I want to check the difference of the speed. You will be surprised how significant it is. So if we go right now, before applying the armor, with 1 engine, we can get our speed up to 7 velocity and evasion 9. Now we go to the editor, armor. Oh, we already have it. It was placed somewhere automatically. Let's erase the armor and see the difference. So 26,000 mass to 18,000 mass, and our speed increased to 10 and evasion to 12. So lighter ships will be easier to manage, and you will need only 1 engine to run it. But the bigger your ship is, the more engines you will need. Let's try to put more engines in the ship to see how it will do with more stuff. Also, you can see that Gatling guns don't work like that because there is a obstruction, and if we will remove it, they will be able to work. So when you're building like that, you can't put guns everywhere. They will need some space. So let's go to editor and erase some of that stuff. 1 here and 2 here. And that will allow the guns to work properly. Let's check how fast we are. Look at that. 30 velocity with 3 engines. Let's make it go far and apply the armor. So 30 velocity at 18k mass. Let's make it all armored. Bam, it increased the mass 2 times and the speed decreased, well, I guess to 18. So now it's heavier and it's slower, but the armor will help to survive more. This is how you build your ship. Now let's do some testing for the building. I'm actually pretty curious how different types of guns work and how much space do they need, and the engines as well, because you can put engines like that as well. We have it in our Sword of Destiny in the back. So this is the minimum distance from the engine. It's like, I think, 6 tiles before the next hull. So we will do this. We will buy ourselves Gatling gun, railgun, cannon, install them here. Cannon, railgun, and Gatling gun. You know what? Let's do it other way around. There we go. We installed most of the things that you will need, and now we can test how much space do they need to work properly. So there is a docking port, engine, Gatling gun, cannon, and railgun. Once we build the hull over here, they become unhappy. They all have the same distance that they need. So each of the stuff that you put outside will have the specific required of distance before the next hull to work. It was 4 tiles, I think. Now it's all good. So you can get a lot of weapons and engines and anything basically if you have how many pieces, how many tiles it is. 1, 5, 6 tiles before the next hull. So overall, the gap of 7 tiles is enough to get multiple layers of weapons. What does it gives us? Like how we can use that? We can make OP builds like that. It might be a bit of a cheating and hard to manage, but it will help in the end anyway if you are struggling, or can help you with a new type of design. So it will allow us to do something really weird but really efficient. We can make the lines of this, then put 4, 5, 6, 7 tiles sideways, get one more line of this, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, another line of this over here. Right, then we put the floors there, confirm, and we can actually put the equipment there for example, cannons. It doesn't matter what exactly, but loads of weapons, just like that. So yeah, can you imagine the firepower it will get once you install all of them and phase them forward? The enemy who will get in front of those guns will be totally massacred, and it can be used for extra engines in the back for high speed, so it can be exploited. We kind of did sort of something like that for the engines here. It's still okay, I don't do that much of that stuff, and we use the guns over here at the inner areas to shoot somewhere far away over there. Also, you can take a look at other ships that are flying around if you take a look at this menu at the top right and select the ships in order to sort of get inspired by the designs and use some of that for yourself. You can take a look at any ship that's around here, or you can fly your ships to the areas with the shipyards, because usually those areas have various types of ships over there for sale, so you can test them out. This is the design of my main ship right now. It might not be perfect, but it's working. We have some unnecessary cabling here as well. And I kind of like what I came up with, so you guys can actually do something like that. And the cool thing that when you use the planner over here, you can use different components, equipment that you don't have. For example, if you want to plan where you place your cannons or railguns, you can add them through the planner, and if you don't have them in the storage, over time they will be bought from the systems. You can even get auto buy, so it will allow you to buy the stuff that you need. In our case, it's space equipment. Enable auto buy, confirm. And then they will be automatically installed once you have those available, and you will plan ahead before actually going anywhere. Although it doesn't seem that it's working right now, so auto buy is enabled, they are not being bought, but if we click buy manually, there we go, they're being delivered. So you can do it when you go through the systems and get yourself the guns that you need, so you won't be overloaded with stuff that you don't need in your ship. You can use it in planning of your combat ship, your factory ship, your carrier ship, or anything basically. And then your guys will pick it up and bring it where it belongs. Bam, bam, and we got all that stuff being installed right now. Awesome. Another tip I can give you is on your space station, once you get it, you'll get it pretty fast. You can use inner area for storage. So before that it was like empty, looking cool, but it's so inefficient that now I spent about $1 million in order to make inner area a storage. And about the storage, you can use the storage area for something specific, but you can also use the storage crates. They are way more efficient. There is a small storage crate and the normal storage crate, and they store 4 times more resources for each tile. So basically, those tiny things can store so much more. Don't forget that you can use the search in order to find the items that you need to buy, because otherwise it might take a while. And yeah, the small storage crate is 3 by 2 multiplied by 4, when the normal storage crate is 4 by 3 multiplied by 4. So the small storage crate can store 36 items, while the large storage crate can store 70. You can also decide if you want crew to load and unload stuff and prioritize zones or crates. If you prioritize crate, they will first deliver stuff over here before putting them into the zone. That will help you to fight the clogged up storage areas most of the time. So this is how space efficient the crates are. The small storage crate can store this amount of resources. It's 6 by 6 grid, 36 items, and 70 items is this. Like, it's a huge amount of stuff into small crates. So that will allow your storage to be way more space efficient. The problem is creating crates and buying them is a bit complex, so you will need logistics level 2 in order to get that. You can queue the research actually, so you'll be able to get stuff that you need over time. Another tip, guys, that you might want, if you don't have to make this kind of storage with the crate to the guns, you might want to create a specific weapon ammo storage, so cannon shells next to the cannons. Those are Gatling guns, so let's make bullets right next to them. That will allow loading them way faster, so the guys who will need to load the guns won't have to carry the ammo from far away, and this will pretty much allow you to lower the reload time quite a lot, because instead of carrying the resources from your storage to your gun, or maybe from here over there, depends, your guys will just pick it up here and put it straight into the gun. So it will just require one worker to get here instead of one worker getting somewhere and going here. And yeah, I think those are all the tips I can give you for the Last Starship for now. That will be more than enough for the beginners to get a hang of the game, but if you want more tutorials on the game, let me know in the comments what exactly do you want, I'll make it. And there is also a playlist with more guides and playthrough in the video description. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to promote it in YouTube algorithm. And thank you very much for watching. It's been Kosh. Have a good one. Bye.